Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and we are Aces53. And Brian's again traveling. He's getting a whole bunch of airline miles.
Yes,
Yes, I hope anyway.
that I
He's
am,
getting
and
something.
hotels.
Yeah, and he wants to be taller than me, so he's looking
Yes.
down on me at the way he's doing it. He's in a hotel that is in the middle of nowhere, has
Well,
really bad internet connection, and now he's on his phone. We'll see what happens.
yeah. So we are being brought to you by Heinz today because literally you're sitting on a ketchup bottle.
Yeah, it works.
So yeah,
So you've been.
but yeah,
Let's
no, it's a
quick recap what you just did.
oh yeah. So I'm here in Scottsdale. So well, we missed last week, right? Because
Thursday.
gosh, I was spoken at an event last week. I was trying to remember. That's all kind of run together. Yeah. So
Oh,
last week weren't able to do Thursday. I was speaking at an event in Fort Worth. Title officers or for a title company, and they were talking about loan officers and everything else. And then I am here in Scottsdale, Arizona, because I spoke at the Ideal Mastermind along with Greg Reed and some other people. And then I am leaving in a few short hours to catch the red eye from Scottsdale, well, from Phoenix to Charlotte, because I got to talk tomorrow morning. So I'm going to get there at 5:30 in the morning, go sleep for a couple hours in the hotel, and then play this all over again. What about you?
wow.
How'd Operation
Just
Firewalk go?
actually went really well. And at first, of course, I have high
Good.
expectations. So yeah, and it was like last year.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I've been on a few different calls this week, and it's been a lot of like people who've never heard of Opus clips and people who've never heard of CapCut. And sometimes I forget how advanced we are for some people, and then how far behind we are with others, right? I mean, you and I've been using Opus for over a year. I've been using CapCut for longer than that. And it's kind of amazing to me that some people don't know that any of these tools are out there. And it's important because you and I've been talking about this for a year or so, 2 years since ChatGPT and everything came out, that you have to
Hey,
stay
hold
current
on.
with what
Hold
technology
on.
is out there. And now people are, yeah.
November 22, ChatGPT came out.
Oh, is that one? Is that when it
Yes.
was? Damn.
Yes. I've been
Coming up
using
on
it
three
since
years. There you
November.
go.
Yeah, since November of 22. And I mean, this weekend I
Yeah.
was creating some t-shirt brand stuff that was just unbelievable compared to what I can do now and stuff I can do
Oh,
with everything else. Yeah.
that reminds me. Did you watch that the YouTube video I sent you with Billie Jean and Andy Frisella talking about the
No,
future of AI?
no. Tell me.
Okay, it's a lot of what we've been talking about, and that is, if you're not using AI, you're going to be left behind. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what they were talking about. Is that you need to be using it in your company. It's scary how AI bots and everything else are coming out, and so it's just one of those things of you've got to start using it. You have to use AI in some form or fashion.
Oh, yeah, I totally
But
agree.
it's
You
a really
have
good. It's 3 hours long. They get into yeah. Sorry, go
you
ahead.
said it's 3 hours long?
Yeah, it's 3 hours long. So I was listening to it like in the Uber to the airport, and the Uber from the airport to the hotel, all that kind of stuff. It's good, but um it's Billie Jean. So Billie Jean is marketing, and Andy Frisella, the guy who is runs First Form. But it's a good one talking about the uses of AI. Then they get into politics and some other stuff. And uh, but it's a well use of the 3 hours of time.
Okay. I was gonna because 3 hours is a Joe Rogan, and a lot of times it's not really used well. Not that I'm knocking Joe Rogan, it's just they
Yeah,
get off on different tangents sometimes.
it is interesting. There's a lot that it first started with everybody's like, oh, hour maximum. And now I'm seeing more of the 2 to 3 hours, especially I like the ones I'm currently listening to is Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. And his all go 2 hours. Right, I've been listening to a lot of Brad Lee and dropping bombs again too. And same thing, it takes 2 hours to get through an episode. I watched one. I watched Gary Brecka. Um, can't remember who else I watched, but anyway, they're getting into longer podcasts. But it's a lot of what we've been talking about, and it's just people have to start looking at branding. How do you stand out? Because now we've talked about this before. Knowledge is no longer power. Now with AI out there, you've been able to, how many places do you think, or not how many places, how many different things do you think you used to outsource that now you can get done with ChatGPT? Just if you had to take a wild guess. Like
Uh,
graphics, you do all your graphics through there, right? At least
mhm.
first revision.
Actually,
What else?
I've taught ChatGPT what file to give me and how to produce it so that I don't have to go somewhere else to create that file. You follow? So whatever
Mhm.
your output is that you need for that file, if it's for a t-shirt brand or if it's for
Yeah,
a logo or for whatever, you tell it when it's creating it how you want it. So when it creates it, you don't then have to go, oh, put it on a background that doesn't show through. I can't even talk today. It's one of those days.
right.
Um,
Transparent.
Transparent. Thank you. And I want a
Yeah,
PNG. I don't even need JPEGs anymore, and I want an EPS file and what the resolution is. And you tell it this before you create it, because once it creates it, sometimes when you tell it to do the next
yeah,
thing, then it totally changes everything. But it's gotten much better. I
right.
mean, drastically better. I've seen these things where people are posting these T-shirts about I'm a Gen X, raised on hose water and neglect or whatever, right? And they're just
Yeah,
post. I did
yeah.
it, and it was a freaking graphic that was just amazing. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And then did another one, and then I did
Yeah.
them for my kids, the millennials, and I sent them to them. I said, I also did
Mhm.
ones for you, and it. What I'm getting at is you don't need those graphic people that you used to need, or at least you can create a design that you
Mm-mm.
want at a certain point, and then go hand it off to somebody else if you can't finish the task. But I'm finding
Yeah.
they can't recreate certain things that you give them because you have to the
Oh,
way
really?
chat. Yeah, they can't unless it's in an EPS high resolution EPS file where they can bring it into one of the things and take it apart. Yes, then. But I gave them like
Yeah.
two t-shirt designs for veteran stuff, and I told them, and they're like, "We need a
Mhm.
higher res, and we can't separate this." And I mean, I can do it in a couple minutes with ChatGPT. But
That
what are
was
you
one
gonna
of the things Andy Frisell was talking about is he called on one of his like developers to do something. Guy said, "Oh, it's going to take 3 weeks." He said he went into ChatGPT and it said, "Create the code for this." He sent it back to the guy. Guy's like, I mean, I'll have it done by Thursday."
do?
So it's what we talked about before. Is there's a lot of people who used to play games with getting people set up because nobody really knew what was in the sausage in order to like set up go high level or whatever. You and I talked. There's a guy that reached out to both of us and he gave a ridiculous price for what
Mhm.
he was offering. And then you can find other people who would do it at what 1/6 of the price of what this guy was wanting to charge.
Sure, I did it myself.
And what he did is he now, yeah. Oh, and he isolated basically, I will never refer him to anybody. So I get charge what you're worth. I think we can always agree, charge
Mhm.
what you're worth. But if you're ripping someone off, you will never get referred.
Yeah.
And so do you want referrals or do you want to rip somebody off? Because, you know,
When I can figure it out in 2 hours, maybe three, that's not 8 grand. If it's going to take me
exactly.
weeks to figure it out, that's 8 grand. If you're going to charge me a certain
Exactly.
dollar amount, it's got to be worth the task involved. I mean, all this
Yeah.
stuff. It's like even in what we're doing with the Veterans Benefit Company, we're now doing a large language model to create all this stuff so that maybe get to a point where we can do it very inexpensive for vets to where they don't even need us or need anybody to do it themselves. They just put
Yeah.
in certain things and it already knows all the different codes and everything else that's out there and what a army person at this rank at this could have went through and asked the right questions and everything else. And that's where we're going. It's going to make things so much faster and easier for people.
Yeah. Well, and that's the goal of everything. But, you're watching all these companies quietly laying off people because AI can replace a lot of different jobs. So it goes back to what we talked about before. You better start learning how to use it because you either need to start your own company or you better figure it out because pretty soon we're going to see a regression in paychecks. So one, you'll be lucky if you keep a job. Number two, they're going to lower what jobs pay because they're no longer going to have to pay as much as they did before. So it's no different than let's just take factory workers. Back in the day, if you worked a factory worker, that was a very high paying job. And then they brought in automation. And because of unions, they were able to still keep that being a high paying job. But there's a lot of different industries and jobs and professions that don't have a union. And so what's going to happen is companies are going to start offering less. So look at what, attorneys make now versus what they used to not that long ago. It's coming. And it's almost any industry you need to be prepared.
Well, it's what happened to the trappers and the fur people, right? Before they started actually learning how to make clothing and stuff, that whole industry went away when things changed, and that's what happens, and that's what AI is doing. There's a university close to me. They're laying off 30% of their workforce because they don't need them now because of AI, and a lot of the teachers they're not going to
Yeah.
need because of AI.
Well, it's
And
one of the things they were joking about on the YouTube I was telling you about is they said pretty soon they think colleges are going to go away. So that's going to be the next big real estate boom is people buying up old college campuses and turning them into lofts and other things because will you really need to go to college? So Billie Jean was saying, he's got a 16-week program and he's like, every time I do the program, it's a new program because AI is moving so fast. And so they were talking about some colleges are having right now, learn to be a prompt engineer. And it's like, yeah, you don't need to take classes then anymore. All you do is literally just go in and play with it.
you don't even have to do that because now ChatGPT asks you what prompt do you want to make and what do you want to do. It asks you those questions where before a few months back you had to, I went backwards. I would do with it and then I said, now make me a prompt for this, and we would make these prompts. And now whatever prompt
Right.
you want, just go in there, prompt creator, what are you looking to do? But the one I created with the customer journey and all that is still kicking ass to this day for everything I do.
Yeah. And that's one you created. That's the crazy part about it. I mean, you just got in, you played with it, you tweaked it. And that's
No,
what all these people are doing. I went to go log into I had to launch this coming Friday. Excuse me, my masterclass with Go High Level got moved to this coming Friday. And so I need to go set up a separate separate instance to Go High Level. And when I went to go log in, what did it ask me? Do I want to log into the one I'm using, right? Joel's. Then asked me, do I want to log into mastermind.com, which was mastermind.com. That's Tony Robbins and Dean Gracioso. And so they have an AI bot in there called Gigi that helps you like write your prompts, write all your materials. Literally, you can compete. Now, granted, you don't have the PDFs and knowledge of Tony Robbins and upload all of his books and things like that, but anybody can create their own prompt engine, now, or their own version of ChatGPT and sell it. And that's what they were talking about in a different course I went to is just, you can have community. And one of the ways that you can have communities have things that people can interact with. It doesn't have to be you. And that can be AI bots, versions of you, you name it.
right. Yeah, because that was one of the things it told me to do was to create a Ed Parcaut mortgage person, to ask questions about any mortgage stuff at all out there. And I'm sure they're already out there because it's been going on for a while, but that's not what I'm trying to do going forward. You know what I mean? That's just part of what I do.
Right.
But yeah,
I gotcha.
there's
Oops, I didn't spell right. I was meant to ask lag, not page.
they're content.
I couldn't tell when I talk.
There is a somewhat
Okay.
of one, yes. So just keep talking once you hear what I finish.
Okay.
Yeah. It should be done on the production side. It should be okay coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those like when you watch the television news reporter and they're like, "Thank you, Sandy." So
It's like the old the movies where we used to watch the kung fu martial arts ones. I'm going to get you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's because you're in the hotel and you're on your phone and your internet's not doing so well with your phone. The big thing I wanted to do was just kind of get caught up with where we are. But there's a lot I need to go over when you actually are in a good place so we can go through things. Because just this pod is really making someone asked me the other day, are you coming up with more ideas because of the fact that you have somebody you can just hand it off to get it done? And I'm like, yeah, to a point where they come back to me a week later with something and I'm like going, okay, what was I doing with that?
What was that again? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm trying to remember. I'm giving you so much stuff. I don't even know.
Right.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand is in their system, in their system, they can only copy and paste with Google Docs. I've been sending them PDFs of what I said when they can't copy and paste it, and they want me to send it through Google Docs, and that's not what I normally do. I use Word and
Right.
then PDFs, and here it is. I'm done. Now I got to get all over. Not that I'm behind on it. It just wasn't something that we did because I don't use Google Docs. Because I don't know
Yeah.
if you noticed, but if you get somebody in Google Docs, I can have access to a lot of the other stuff unless you stop me from having access to a bunch of the other stuff. I've seen one of our past
No,
coaches,
it's
all the stuff that they had in their things and talking to people about things on their Google Docs. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot of information in here. You really got to be careful. So.
yeah. Well, it can be dangerous. That's why it's good if somebody needs something in Google Doc, you're like, fine, give me an access and let me do it versus the opposite. You know what I mean?
You mean have them give you an access for theirs?
Yeah, versus you giving access to yours. Because you're right. There's people are in a rush and they're like, okay, well, let me just share this document. Like that's one thing I do like about Dropbox is I can say share this one file, not share my entire Dropbox.
Right. And that's
So
because that's just so not that I'm nosy, but if you're going to send me everything, I'm going to go through it. Just that's how I am. I want to know
human
what's
nature.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you have something
And
great
that's
in
just
there.
it. It's human nature when they do it.
And but even
Something I need to get an idea.
huh? Something
I
you need to
said
get your
we're all
dad.
gonna be curious and take a look.
Oh, I'm waiting for you to stop thinking.
Oh, I'm talking to you, so
I know,
it's
but look, it's like my
okay.
wife typing. It's taking forever.
Yeah, it is. Well, because I have my computer sitting over here. So,
Oh, you're too loud.
but
All right, well,
yeah,
go have a drink.
so
We'll
they're
fix
they're
this.
gonna be
We'll pick
opening
this up.
shop here in a minute.
Okay, well, we'll pick this up later.
Yeah, we'll come back on. No, we got another few minutes, but yeah. So I think just even the masterminds that I've been at, everybody is figuring out number one, everybody's using AI. And they're having to figure out now, how do I stand out? Because like we talked about is now to a degree, the playing field's been leveled. So what are you doing to stand out on that playing field now? And that of course comes down to branding, when people Google you, when they look you up on social media, what shows up, and then how are you keeping in touch? And that's one that you're much better at than I am, is like, I don't do newsletters like I should. I did work with Joel and team where now we have an automation set up that once something comes in, there's 30 days of text messages and emails that they get, but there's still more stuff to work on.
That's just automation. That's easy. That's why when I told you
Yeah.
the other day what you needed to do, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, but you're at the point where you need to. We'll talk offline.
You're gonna have to remind me what it was. We'll have to talk
I'll
about
talk
offline.
offline. I'll talk offline.
Yeah.
Code doesn't work right now.
I'm gonna relocate to a restaurant. Yeah, I'll relocate to a restaurant and then we can talk from there.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Tell us where you're at. When are you back? When you're back in Dallas?
I get back Friday or late Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday's an all-day travel day, and I'll be back in Dallas. And then Friday I speak at we record the high level event. So I will be back to normal operations next week.
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
So we won't be here Thursday unless I can find a joker, and then I'll bring them in. But actually, I won't be here Thursday because I have a golf tournament I'm in. Our Make Dreams World Golf Tournament.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So, all right, make it a great day. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
appreciate you. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, everybody.